The fight for the midterms is getting an early Trump turbo boost. The president is back in Northeast Pennsylvania tonight, pitching his economic agenda of lower costs and a cheaper life for everyday Americans. It's starting to look like he's ready to campaign like it's 2024 all over again, just like his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, hinted.
I haven't quite broken it to him yet, but he's going to campaign like it's 2024 again.
Oh.
For all these people that he helps. He doesn't help everybody, but for those he does, he's a difference maker, and he's certainly a turnout machine. So the midterms will be very important to us. He'll work very hard to keep the majority in the Senate.
And the president feeling pretty good about the economic job he's done, giving himself high marks in an interview with Politico.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
A very special day for us on The Five, Erica. It's great to have you here. We will not make you go first today. We will start with Jesse Waters for his take on the president's move tonight.
Well, he's very popular. He's more popular now than Bush and Obama were at their parts of their term. And so he has to use his political capital, and he has to use it in the midterms, because if he loses the House and the Senate, it's cooked. So he has to keep the Senate, stave off the blue wave. I didn't say it, Jessica. Don't worry about it.
You did say it. I saw you say
it. And that's what he should be focused on. And no one is better on the stump than Donald Trump. No one can connect with the average guy, and no one can raise money like he can. So he should just get out there and barnstorm the country, get out of the White House, get out of Washington, and reconnect with the forgotten men and women of this country, and he'll do just fine. There are bright spots. I mean, you have right now gas prices below $3. Hasn't been this low for 3 years. Oil, when he came in, per barrel, $78. It's $58.
He's going to try to, but the argument that the guy who's been out for a year, that it's all his fault when you've implemented a totally new economic agenda and that it's a failure in basically every corner of it, is not really resonating with people. When Joe Biden's inflation number was over 9%, the entire world's inflation number was up. Donald Trump doesn't have the same issues that Joe Biden did. He doesn't have a supply chain problem. He doesn't have a global health pandemic that was killing millions of people all over the world. He's just setting our economy on fire, and not in the good way, in like the dumpster fire way. The A++++ grade, obviously that's ridiculous. But there are some key indicators that Donald Trump and his administration knows that this is going really badly. First, Susie Wiles having to go out there and say, he's going to get back on the campaign trail. That'll really animate the right. Well, guess what? It'll animate the left as well. We aren't getting the jobs numbers anymore, the GDP numbers, or the inflation numbers. And we know that Donald Trump, if a number is even remotely good, or he can lie about it, he tells you what it is.
Welcome back, guys. Okay, so Donald Trump is back on the road again with what they are calling his economy tour. Honestly, it feels like he's campaigning like it's 2024 all over again. That's what his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, actually said. And you know, watching this, I can really see why Trump supporters get so excited about him. He just has this ability to connect with people, to energize crowds, and to make everything feel like a big event. One thing that stood out to me right away was Trump giving himself an A++ for his economic performance. I mean, that's bold, right? He is claiming he inherited a total mess with prices skyrocketing, and now, according to him, things are coming down. He points to gas prices being below $3, lower oil prices, and people having more money in their pockets. There's also this point about record Black Friday sales and a record stock market during his term. I get that some people see those numbers as a sign of success, and honestly, Trump is really good at farming it that way. But of course, no, not everyone agrees. You have got Democrats ready to invoke his name consistently in the midterms. Gavin Newsom and George Shapiro, for instance, are already gearing up to make Trump a central issue. Some of the co-hosts on the show even called him a man-child and criticized him rhetoric. There's this scene that while Trump's supporters love him, his critics are equally vocal, arguing that the economy isn't actually as great as he claims. They point to layoffs, higher costs of groceries and utilities, and a contracting manufacturing sector. And when he gives him an A++ grade, some people call it ridiculous, which I can see it's certainly confident, maybe even overconfident. One thing I found interesting was how the show highlighted Trump's popularity and influence. Jesse Waiters mentioned that Trump is more popular than Bush and Obama were at similar points in their presidencies. That's huge because it means he still has a lot of potential capital to use, especially in the midterms. And he's not just popular, he's a turnout machine. He knows how to rely people, he is good at fundraising, and he can make a big impact on elections just by showing up. That's something even Republicans in swinging districts distinct seem to recognize. Some example, Ray Magazine, a freshman Republican from PA7 who won by a very narrow margin, is attending Trump's event. That tells you that even candidates who technically won their seats believe they need Trump's support to secure their positions. It's like he's become an essential part of Republican strategy and the party cannot ignore his influence. But some of the co-hosts expressed frustration about this. They were basically saying, come on, Republicans, step up. Don't just rely on Trump to campaign for you. That's a fair point because while Trump can boost turnout, candidates still need to do the work themselves. Another topic that came up with the connection between the economy and Trump's policies. One co host even suggests that mass deportation under Trump helped the economy by lowering insurance and rent prices. That's a controversial take, and it's definitely one that sparked debate. It's the kind of thing that gets supporters fired up and critics shaking their heads. But it shows how Trump's influence goes beyond just personality. People tie his policies directly to economic outcomes, whether they agree with him or not. What's really striking is how Trump frames himself as someone who solves problems. He inherited a mess, he says, and now everything is improving. And even if you agree with his assessment, you have to admit he is consistent with his messaging. He's confident, he's loud, and he knows how to make the story about his leadership. Critics argue that the current economic issues shouldn't be pinned on him, since he's been out of office for over a year. But for his base, that does not matter. They see him as the figure who can fix things and they respond to that. At the same time, there's this tension in the Republican Party about over reliance on Trump. Some co hosts on the show were annoyed that candidates seem to need him to campaign for them rather than building their own support. It's an interesting dynamic because it shows that Trump's influence is about a strength and a political weakness. He can carry candidates to victory, but it also raises the question, are they capable of standing on their own? And let's not forget the contrast between the positive and negative economic perspectives. Trump and his supporters point to gas prices, the stock market, and sales as proof of success. Meanwhile, critics highlight rising living costs, layoffs, and spending challenges. Both sides are using numbers and narratives to make their case. It's a reminder that economic performance can be interrupted in very different ways depending on political alignment. Overall, what really comes through is that Trump is still a central figure in American politics. His reliance, his messaging, and his presence have a huge impact on both the Republican Party and the broader national conversation. He energizes supporters, drives out turnout, and dominates attention. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny his influence. And as we move closer to the midterms, it's clear that he is going to be a major factor, whether that's for campaigning, fundraising, or shaping the political debate. Watching all this, it feels like Trump is not just running campaigns, he is running narratives, he is making himself the story, and everyone else is reacting to him. That's why the midterms are going to be so interesting. Republicans clearly see his value, Democrats are strengthening strategizing around him, and the American public is watching closely to see what impact it all has. At the end of the day, love him or hate him, Trump is back in the spotlight, making his presence felt and reminding everyone that he is still a major player in American politics. His influence is undeniable, his confidence is unmatched, and whether the economy truly matches his A claim or not, he has mastered the art of shaping the conversation around it. And that's the reality we are seeing right now. Donald Trump is not going away anytime soon. He is campaigning, he is rallying, and he is setting the stage for what could be a very interesting political season. Thanks for watching my video. I will see you in the next video.